Yo, let's talk about slavery. We've all heard that it ended centuries ago, right? That's what they teach in school 400 years ago, done and dusted. But here's the thing. That's a big fat lie. It's like saying apartheid ended in South Africa just because they had an election. Sure, things changed on paper, but the reality is way more complicated. The truth is, we're still living in the shadow of slavery. Not the actual act of owning people, but the systems of oppression that it created. Think of it like a tree. You chop down the trunk, but the roots are still there, poisoning the ground. That's what we're dealing with, the toxic legacy of slavery that continues to affect us today. We can't just ignore it and pretend it's gone. It's time to face the uncomfortable truth. The end of slavery wasn't a clean break. It wasn't some magical moment where everything became fair and equal. It was the start of a long and messy process. A process that's still going on right now. And to understand where we are, we need to understand where we've been. So, where did this whole 400 years thing come from? Well, some people point to 1619, when the first African slaves were brought to the colony of Virginia. But that's just one piece of the puzzle. Slavery didn't just start and stop in one place. It was a global system that lasted for centuries. Even within the United States, slavery didn't end everywhere at the same time. Sure, Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, but it took years for that to actually take effect, and even then, it only applied to Confederate states. Meanwhile, in places like Texas, enslaved people weren't freed until Juneteenth in 1865. And let's not forget about the rest of the world. Slavery was abolished in the British Empire in 1833, but it continued in other parts of the Americas and Africa for decades. In fact, Mauritania didn't criminalize slavery until 1981. That's right, 1981. So when people say 400 years, they're simplifying a complex and painful history. It's a catchy phrase, but it's not accurate. And when we use inaccurate language, we risk erasing the experiences of millions of people. Abolition was a crucial step, no doubt. But let's be clear, ending slavery on paper didn't magically erase centuries of oppression. Think about it. You can't just tell someone they're free after generations of enslavement and expect them to thrive. The systems of power, the economic disparities, the deeply ingrained racism, all of that remained. In many ways, the end of slavery marked the beginning of a new struggle, the fight for true equality. In the U.S., you had Reconstruction, Jim Crow, the Civil Rights Movement. In colonized nations, you had independence movements, but also new forms of exploitation. The point is, freedom wasn't a destination, it was a journey. And it's a journey that's still ongoing. We're still fighting for things like equal pay, access to education, and an end to police brutality. These issues are directly linked to the legacy of slavery and colonialism, and we can't address them without acknowledging that history. Section 4, New Chains, Same Shackles. Here's another inconvenient truth. While slavery was ending in some parts of the world, colonialism was kicking into high gear. European powers were busy carving up Africa and Asia, exploiting their resources and people. And guess what? The same racist ideologies that justified slavery were used to justify colonialism. Think about it. You've got these European nations saying, we're the superior race and it's our duty to civilize these savage people. Sound familiar? It's the same BS, just a different package. They exploited the land, forced people into labor, and destroyed cultures, all in the name of progress. Colonialism was basically slavery 2.0. It was a system designed to extract wealth from conquered lands and enrich the colonizers, and just like slavery, it left lasting scars on the world. We see it in the artificial borders drawn by colonizers, the economic disparities between nations, and the ongoing struggles for self-determination. Section 5, Echoes in the Present. So, how does all of this connect to the present? Well, the legacy of slavery and colonialism is everywhere if you know where to look. It's in the wealth gap between black and white Americans. It's in the underrepresentation of minorities in positions of power. It's in the systemic racism that permeates our institutions. When we see black people disproportionately incarcerated, when we see indigenous communities struggling for clean water, when we see immigrants demonized and dehumanized, those are the echoes of the past. These aren't isolated incidents. They're symptoms of a system built on exploitation and inequality. And let's be clear, this isn't about guilt or blame. It's about acknowledging the truth of our history and understanding how it continues to shape our present. We can't change the past, but we can learn from it. We can use this knowledge to build a more just and equitable future. Section 6. The truth will set us free. Look, I know this is heavy stuff, it's uncomfortable to confront the dark side of history, but we can't afford to shy away from the truth. The first step towards healing is acknowledging the wound. The lie that slavery ended 400 years ago allows us to stay comfortable. It lets us pretend that the past is the past and that we've moved on. But we haven't. The only way to truly move on is to face our history head-on, to understand the systems of oppression that are still in place, and to dismantle them brick by brick. This isn't just about righting the wrongs of the past, it's about creating a better future for everyone. When we understand the truth about slavery and colonialism, we can start to build a world where everyone has an equal chance to succeed. We can create a world where the color of your skin or the place you were born doesn't determine your destiny. That's the world I want to live in, and I hope you'll join me in fighting for it. Peace out. Now let's move forward. Let's talk about the so-called end of colonization, African independence. Ghana was the first sub-Saharan African country to gain independence from colonial rule. That was in 1957, led by the great Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, a visionary, a revolutionary. He didn't just fight for Ghana, he fought for Africa. He said, "The independence of Ghana is meaningless unless it is linked up with the total liberation of the African continent." That was the spirit. That was the fire. But did independence truly mean freedom? Or was it just the beginning of a new struggle? While flags were raised and anthems sung, the chains of economic and political dependency remained. Neocolonialism, as Nkrumah himself termed it, replaced overt control with subtle manipulation. African nations found themselves shackled by debt, corruption, and external influence. So, we must ask, has the dream of true independence been realized? The fight for genuine freedom continues, echoing the struggles of the past but with new faces and new battles. It's a reminder that the end of colonial rule was not the end of the journey but rather a pivotal moment in an ongoing quest for justice and equality. As we reflect on these complex histories, let's not lose sight of the resilience and courage that fueled the independence movements. These stories of struggle and triumph remind us that the path to freedom is long and arduous, but every step forward is a testament to the unbreakable human spirit. Peace out! After Ghana blazed the trail, others followed. Nigeria in 1960, Kenya in 1963, Zambia in 1964, Angola in 1975, Zimbabwe in 1980. South Africa ended apartheid only in 1994. Some countries didn't gain independence until the 1990s. And you're telling me slavery ended 400 years ago? The truth is, while the chains of colonial rule were broken, the scars and consequences of centuries of exploitation and oppression lingered. The fight for genuine freedom and equality didn't end with the lowering of colonial flags. It evolved into a new struggle against economic subjugation, political instability, and social injustice. Consider the economic frameworks left behind, systems designed to benefit the colonizers, not the colonized. Many African nations found themselves crippled by debt, manipulated by foreign powers, and grappling with internal corruption. The dream of self-determination often clashed with the harsh realities of global politics and economic dependency. Yet, in the face of these challenges, the spirit of resilience and determination persisted. From the grassroots movements to the corridors of power, Africans continued to fight for their rights, their dignity, and their future. This ongoing struggle serves as a powerful reminder. true liberation is not a single event but a continuous journey. It's a path marked by both triumphs and setbacks, but always driven by the unwavering human spirit striving for justice and equality. As we reflect on these histories, let us honor the courage and resilience that fueled the independence movements. Let's recognize that the quest for true freedom continues, echoing the struggles of the past and inspiring future generations to keep pushing forward. Peace out. Let's do the maths. If most African countries only became politically independent between the 1960s and the 1990s, that's just 60, 50, even 30 years ago. That's not history, that's right now. The legacies of colonialism and slavery are not confined to dusty pages in history books. They are woven into the fabric of our present, influencing everything from economic policies to social structures. The echoes of the past reverberate through our societies, shaping the experiences and opportunities of millions. Consider the systemic inequalities that persist. The wealth gap between nations, the exploitation of natural resources, and the political instability in many regions are all modern-day manifestations of historical injustices. The struggle for true liberation is ongoing, and it demands our attention and action. But amidst the challenges, there is also hope. The younger generations are rising, armed with knowledge, technology, and an unyielding spirit. They are determined to break the chains of the past and forge a new path towards genuine freedom and equality. As we look to the future, let us carry forward the lessons of history. Let us honor the sacrifices of those who fought for independence and continue the work they began. Because the journey to true liberation is not over, it is a path we walk every day, with every step bringing us closer to a world where justice and equality reign supreme. Peace out! But even after independence, we weren't truly free. Many of our leaders were assassinated or overthrown. Our economies were still controlled by foreign banks and corporations. Our currencies were still pegged to European ones. And our children were still taught to believe that Africa had no history before the white man arrived. The struggle for true liberation has always been more than just a fight for political sovereignty. It's about reclaiming our narratives, our economies, and our identities. The unseen chains of neocolonialism continue to bind us, subtly yet powerfully influencing our societies and our futures. Imagine a continent where resources benefit the people who live there, where history is taught from a perspective that honors its rich and diverse past, and where economic policies are crafted for the prosperity of its own citizens. This vision is not a distant dream but a tangible possibility, one that requires us to confront the hidden forces that still seek to control and exploit. The journey to true liberation is ongoing. It's a path fraught with challenges but also filled with opportunities for transformation. The younger generations, with their unyielding spirit and innovative minds, are leading the charge. They are rewriting the narrative, reclaiming their heritage, and building a future where Africa stands strong and free. As we continue this journey, let us remember, the fight for true freedom is not just about breaking the visible chains, but also the invisible ones. It's about creating a world where every African can thrive, unburdened by the shadows of the past. Peace out. So again I ask, how can you tell me slavery ended 400 years ago, when we only started getting our countries back 60 years ago? When we only started calling ourselves presidents and ministers a few decades ago? When our grandparents still remember what colonial rule felt like? These questions aren't just rhetorical, they demand answers. They force us to confront uncomfortable truths about the nature of freedom and independence. They remind us that the legacy of slavery and colonialism isn't confined to history books but is woven into the very fabric of our present lives. The journey towards true liberation isn't just about political milestones, it's about mental and economic emancipation as well. It's about breaking free from the psychological chains that were forged over centuries. It's about reclaiming our stories, our economies, and our destinies. And it's about recognizing that the fight for true freedom continues, even today. As we ponder these questions, let us commit to the ongoing struggle for justice and equality. Let us ensure that the sacrifices of our ancestors were not in vain. Let us work towards a future where every African can proudly say that the chains, both visible and invisible, have been broken for good. Thank you for watching. Peace out. This is the truth they don't want you to know. Because the moment we know it, we start asking questions. We start reclaiming power. We begin to understand that the chains of the past are not just relics of history, but are present in our economic systems, our social structures, and even in our minds. The realization that true liberation is an ongoing journey forces us to look beyond the surface and dig deeper into the systemic roots of inequality and oppression. We start to see that our fight isn't just against the remnants of colonial rule, but against a global system that thrives on our subjugation. We begin to question the narratives we've been fed and the histories we've been taught. We understand that reclaiming power means reclaiming our stories, our cultures, and our identities. It means building economies that serve our people, not exploit them. It means creating systems of governance that truly represent us and work for our collective well-being. And as we ask these questions and seek these truths, we become unstoppable. We become the architects of our own futures. We become the generation that finally breaks free from the chains, both seen and unseen. This is the truth they don't want you to know, but now that we know it, there is no turning back. The journey towards true liberation continues, and it is a journey we must all undertake together. Thank you for watching. Let's continue to seek the truth and reclaim our power. Peace out. Now let's address the final insult. After everything, after the slavery, the colonization, the exploitation, the pain, they now turn around and tell us, get over it. This is a tactic as old as time itself. It's an attempt to erase our history, to silence our voices, and to undermine our struggles. By telling us to forget, they hope to disconnect us from our past, to make us lose sight of the systemic injustices that still prevail today. But why are we told to forget? Because our memory is powerful. Because our history is a testament to our resilience and our strength. When we remember, we reclaim our narrative. We honor our ancestors and the sacrifices they made. We draw lessons from the past to forge a better future. Forgetting is a weapon used against us. It's meant to keep us docile, to prevent us from rising up and demanding justice. It's a way to maintain the status quo, ensuring that the systems of oppression remain unchallenged. But we will not forget. We will remember every atrocity, every act of resistance, every victory, and every loss. We will tell our stories loud and clear for the world to hear. We will educate ourselves and future generations about the true history, our history. Remembering is an act of defiance. It's a declaration that we will not be erased. It's a commitment to continue the fight for true liberation, for justice, for equality. We owe it to ourselves, to our ancestors, and to our descendants. So, the next time someone tells you to get over it, remember this. Forgetting is not an option. Our memories are our strength, our stories are our power, and our history is our guide. Together we will keep the flame of memory alive, and with it, we will light the way to a future where true liberation is not just a dream, but a reality. Thank you for watching. Let's continue to remember, to resist, and to reclaim our power. Peace out. They say, that was in the past. They say, you're still angry about something that happened centuries ago? They say, stop playing the victim. But this is not about victimhood. This is about memory. This is about justice. This is about healing through truth. Our memories are not relics of a bygone era. They are the threads that weave our identity. They are the silent witnesses to our ancestors' resilience and our enduring spirit. When we remember, we honor the lives that were lost, the cultures that were disrupted, and the futures that were stolen. Forgetting is a luxury we cannot afford. It is through memory that we acknowledge the deep wounds inflicted by history. It is through memory that we seek justice, not just for the past but for the present and the future. Our memories are a beacon, guiding us through the fog of denial and indifference. When they tell us to forget, they are asking us to erase the very essence of who we are. But we know better. We know that our strength lies in our collective memory, in our shared stories of struggle and triumph. We know that healing begins with truth, and truth cannot flourish in the soil of forgetfulness. we will continue to remember, to speak out, to educate, and to demand justice. For memory is not just a record of the past, it is a roadmap to a just and equitable future. Together we will keep the flame of memory alive, and with it, we will light the way to a future where true liberation is not just a dream, but a reality. Thank you for watching. Let's continue to remember, to resist, and to reclaim our power. Peace out. Do you know why they want us to forget? Because forgetting benefits them. Because if we forget, we stop asking questions. We stop demanding reparations. We stop reclaiming our language, our stories, our identity. And the systems they built, the banks, the borders, the global institutions, they continue to profit from our silence. Forgetting is not just an act of neglect, it is an act of complicity. When we forget, we allow the injustices of the past to seep into the present, unchallenged and unchecked. We allow the same power structures that thrived on exploitation to remain intact, to evolve and to adapt. They know that our silence is their greatest ally, and our memory, their greatest threat. But what is the cost of forgetting? It is the erasure of our ancestors' struggles, the loss of our cultural heritage, and the perpetuation of systemic inequalities. It is the continuation of a narrative that favors the oppressor and marginalizes the oppressed. Forgetting is a form of violence, a way to strip us of our history and our humanity. We must remember that memory is a form of resistance. It is a way to hold power accountable, to demand justice, and to reclaim our rightful place in the world. Our memories are not just stories of pain and suffering, they are also stories of resilience, of strength, and of unyielding spirit. They are the foundation upon which we build our future. As we move forward, let us carry our memories with us, not as a burden, but as a source of empowerment. Let us use them to challenge the status quo, to dismantle oppressive systems, and to create a world where justice and equality are not just ideals, but realities. Because when we remember, we do not just honor the past, we shape the future. Thank you for watching. Let's continue to remember, to resist, and to reclaim our power. Peace out. They erased our history from textbooks. They portrayed Africa as a dark, primitive place in movies. They made us ashamed of our skin, our tongues, our gods. And now they tell us to move on, after they stole the past and still control the present. The erasure wasn't just about omitting facts, it was about shaping perceptions. It was about implanting a narrative that painted our ancestors as less than human, as if our stories didn't matter, as if our achievements were insignificant. This was a deliberate act of cultural sabotage, aimed at breaking our spirit and keeping us subjugated. Consider the textbooks that gloss over the rich civilizations of Africa, the kingdoms of Mali, the ancient libraries of Timbuktu. Instead, they focus on colonial conquests, as if our history began with their arrival. Consider the films that depict our lands as savage and untamed, perpetuating stereotypes that serve to dehumanize us. These are not just oversights, they are calculated efforts to control the narrative. And what about the present? The systems of power that were built on the backs of our ancestors still exist. The wealth amassed through centuries of exploitation still fuels the global economy. The institutions that once sanctioned our subjugation now claim to be our liberators, yet they still operate on principles that perpetuate inequality. They tell us to move on, to forget, to let go of the past. But how can we move on when the past is still so present? How can we forget when the echoes of our ancestors' cries still resonate in our souls? Moving on doesn't mean forgetting. It means acknowledging the truth, seeking justice, and ensuring that such atrocities never happen again. We must reclaim our history, our culture, our identity. We must teach our children about the true richness of their heritage. We must challenge the narratives that seek to diminish us, because only through remembering can we truly move forward. Only through reclaiming our past can we hope to build a future where we are truly free. Thank you for watching. Remember, our history is our power. Let's continue to reclaim it. Peace out. No, we will not forget. We will not be gaslit into silence. We have a right to grieve. We have a right to be angry. We have a right to question. And above all, we have a right to remember. To remember the empires that thrived before the chains, the cultures that flourished before the ships, To remember the warriors and scholars, the artists and builders, whose legacies were stolen and hidden away. To remember that our story did not begin with enslavement, and it certainly does not end with it. We will remember the resilience of our ancestors who dared to dream of freedom even in the darkest of times. We will remember the revolts that echoed through the plantations, the whispers of rebellion that grew into cries for justice. We will remember the countless souls who fought, resisted, and perished, so that we might one day stand tall. Through remembering, we reclaim our stolen narrative. We rewrite the chapters that were torn from our history books. We give voice to those who were silenced. We honor their struggles and sacrifices, and in doing so, we find our strength. We will not be gaslit into silence. Our grief, our anger, our questions, and our memories are valid. They are the threads that weave the tapestry of our identity. They are the foundation upon which we build our future. So, let us remember, let us grieve, let us be angry, let us question, and let us never, ever forget. Because in remembering, we find the power to reclaim our past, to fight for our present, and to shape our future. Thank you for watching. Together, we will keep the flame of memory alive. Peace out. Because remembering is resistance, because memory is power, and because only through truth can Africa truly rise. In the face of erasure, we choose to remember. In the face of oppression, we choose to stand tall. Our memories are not just echoes of the past, but the foundation of our future. Each story, each name, each struggle we recall is a beacon of light in the darkness, guiding us towards a future where justice and equality reign. We remember the empires that once thrived, the rich cultures that painted the tapestry of our history, and the indomitable spirits of our ancestors. We remember not just to honor them, but to draw strength from their resilience, to find courage in their defiance, and to fuel our own fight for justice. Our memory is our resistance. It is our declaration that we will not be silenced, that we will not be erased, and that our voices will echo through the annals of history. We will teach our children the truth, we will share our stories with the world, and we will ensure that the legacies of our ancestors live on. Because in remembering, we find the power to reclaim our past, to fight for our present, and to shape our future. Together we will keep the flame of memory alive. Peace out. Now, let's look at today. Let's look at the Africa we're living in now. The wounds of slavery and colonization didn't just vanish when the flags changed. They didn't disappear when we got presidents. No, the legacy is still here, living in the systems that surround us. From economic disparities to social injustices, the echoes of the past reverberate through our present. The wealth extracted from our lands and the human capital stolen from our people have left deep scars that still influence our societies. The educational systems, the political structures, even the borders that divide us, they are all remnants of a colonial past designed to benefit the few at the expense of the many. But we are not defined by these wounds. We are defined by our response to them. Across the continent, people are rising. They are reclaiming their heritage, demanding justice, and working to dismantle the systems of oppression that were built to break them. We see it in the movements for land reform, in the calls for reparations, in the push for economic independence. We see it in the resurgence of African art, music, and literature, which celebrate our cultures and tell our stories in our own voices. We see it in the relentless pursuit of education and innovation as we build a future that honors our past while forging new paths forward. The legacy of slavery and colonialism is a heavy burden, but it is also a call to action. It reminds us of the strength and resilience that courses through our veins, and it challenges us to continue the fight for true liberation, because the journey is not over. The road is long, but with each step, we move closer to a future where justice, equality, and freedom are not just ideals, but realities. So let us remember, let us resist, and let us rise. Together, we will overcome. Peace out. Systemic poverty? That's not by accident. Many African countries were left with no infrastructure, no industries, and heavy debts. They were designed to fail, because colonialism wasn't about building, it was about extraction, taking everything. and giving nothing back. The colonial powers meticulously stripped the continent of its resources, leaving behind a landscape marred by economic desolation. When they left, they didn't just take gold, diamonds and oil, they took futures, hope, and potential. They left behind fractured economies burdened by artificial borders and unsustainable debt. The debts incurred by these nations were often the result of exploitative loans designed to keep them in a cycle of dependency. Even today, these debts hang like a noose around the necks of developing nations, stifling growth and perpetuating poverty. And what about the industries? The colonizers built infrastructure to serve their own needs. Railways to transport goods to ports, not to connect communities. Factories that processed raw materials for export, not to develop local economies. The legacy of this extraction is still evident in the uneven development seen across the continent. But here's the thing. Despite these odds, African nations are fighting back. They are working to rebuild what was torn apart, to create industries that serve their people, and to repay debts that should never have been theirs to begin with. They are advocating for fair trade, demanding the return of stolen artifacts, and pushing for reparations for the centuries of exploitation. The journey is arduous, but the spirit of resilience is unwavering. The hidden cost of extraction is a painful reminder of a past designed to cripple, but it is also a testament to the enduring strength and determination of a continent that refuses to be defined by its wounds. So, let's not turn a blind eye to this reality. Let's recognize the systemic injustices and support the efforts to rectify them. Because true liberation isn't just about breaking chains, it's about building a future where those chains can never be forged again. Peace out. Look at our borders, carved by Europeans during the Berlin Conference. No regard for ethnic groups, cultures, or tribes. Just lines on a map, dividing families, igniting conflict, causing wars that still rage today. These borders, drawn with the stroke of a pen, have had devastating consequences. They created nations without considering the people who lived there, forcing together diverse groups who had little in common and who often had historical animosities. This arbitrary division has led to countless conflicts, civil wars, and ongoing strife. Imagine being separated from your loved ones, your community, your heritage, all because of a line drawn thousands of miles away. These lines have torn apart the social fabric of countless communities, leading to a legacy of division and discord. The scars of these borders are still visible today. They manifest in the form of political instability, ethnic tensions, and economic disparity. These borders were designed to divide and conquer, and their impact continues to reverberate through the generations. But despite this, African nations are striving to overcome these imposed divisions. They are working towards unity, seeking to heal the wounds inflicted by these arbitrary borders. Regional organizations are promoting cooperation and integration, aiming to build a future where borders do not dictate destiny. The fight for true liberation includes the struggle to redefine these borders to create a sense of unity and shared purpose. It is a reminder that the legacy of colonialism is not just in the past, it is a present reality that must be addressed. So as we look at these lines on a map, let us remember the human cost of these borders. Let us support efforts to heal and unite, to build a future where the mistakes of the past do not dictate the possibilities of tomorrow. Peace out. Our education systems, still teaching European literature, European history, European philosophy, while African knowledge, African heroes, and African spirituality are left in the shadows, still calling our gods demons, still calling our languages vernacular, still saying English and French are superior. This colonial curriculum is not just a relic of the past, it is an ongoing erasure of our identity, our history, and our achievements. Children grow up learning about Shakespeare and Voltaire, but are seldom taught about Chinua Achebe or Wangari Maathai. They can recite the dates of European wars but know little of the powerful kingdoms of Mali, Ghana, and Songhai. Our education systems perpetuate the myth that knowledge from the West is the pinnacle of human achievement, while our own contributions are relegated to footnotes if mentioned at all. This is a deliberate act of intellectual colonization, designed to make us forget who we are and where we come from. But there is a growing movement to decolonize education. Scholars, activists, and educators are fighting to bring African knowledge and perspectives into the curriculum. They are working to ensure that our children learn about their own heroes, their own history, and their own philosophies. They are reclaiming our languages, our spirituality, and our stories. The struggle to decolonize education is a vital part of the broader fight for true liberation. It is about reclaiming our minds, our identities, and our future. It is about ensuring that the next generation grows up with a sense of pride in who they are and where they come from. So as we challenge the colonial curriculum, let us remember the power of knowledge. Let us remember that education is not just about learning facts, but about shaping identities and futures. Let us fight to ensure that our children receive an education that honors their heritage and empowers them to build a better tomorrow. Peace out. Our artifacts, our history, sitting in glass cases in European museums, stolen, displayed, profited from, and when we ask for them back, they hesitate, they deny, they pretend they're preserving them better than we ever could. That's theft with a smile. These objects are not mere curiosities, they are the heartbeats of our cultures, the whispers of our ancestors, the symbols of our identity. Each piece holds stories, traditions, and spiritual significance that cannot be replicated or replaced. Yet they are kept far from home, thousands of miles away from the lands and people to whom they belong. These artifacts were taken during times of violence, oppression, and exploitation. Times when our people had no power to resist. They were looted from sacred sites, ripped from the hands of the rightful keepers, and shipped off to adorn the halls of imperial power. The refusal to return them is not just about possession. It is about control. It is about maintaining a narrative that justifies the colonial conquest, that says our cultures are lesser, our people incapable of preserving their own history. It is a continuation of the colonial mindset that sees the West as the guardian of civilization and the rest of us as mere subjects. But we are not silent. Across the continent and the diaspora, voices are rising. Scholars, activists, and community leaders are demanding the return of our heritage. They are challenging the moral and legal justifications for keeping these treasures in foreign lands. They are reclaiming our history, our identity, and our dignity. The fight for the repatriation of our artifacts is a fight for justice. It is a fight to heal the wounds of the past and to honor the resilience of our ancestors. It is a fight to ensure that future generations can connect with their heritage, not through the glass of a museum case, but in the lands and communities where these artifacts belong. So, as we demand the return of our stolen heritage, let us remember that this is not just about objects. It is about our right to remember, to celebrate, and to pass on our stories. It is about reclaiming our past to build a stronger, more empowered future. Peace out. And psychologically, we're still healing. Generations of Africans were taught to hate themselves, to think Africa meant poverty, chaos, and backwardness. We were trained to see white skin as clean, intelligent, and powerful, and to see ourselves as less. That kind of trauma doesn't end overnight. These damaging perceptions were not just imposed by colonial rulers but internalized by those who lived through these oppressive systems. They seeped into the very fabric of our societies, affecting how we view ourselves and each other. The relentless barrage of negative stereotypes and dehumanizing imagery has left deep scars on our collective psyche. It's not just about the past either. These harmful ideas continue to be perpetuated by media, education, and even within our own communities. They shape the opportunities we believe we deserve, the ambitions we dare to have, and the confidence we carry within ourselves. But healing is possible. Across the continent and the diaspora, a renaissance of African pride is emerging. We are reclaiming our narratives, celebrating our cultures, and affirming our worth. Through art, literature, music, and activism, we are challenging the remnants of colonial mentalities and building new, empowering identities. It is a journey of unlearning and relearning, of breaking down the walls of internalized oppression and constructing bridges of self-love and community solidarity. It is about recognizing the immense beauty, intelligence, and resilience that have always been part of our heritage, despite the attempts to erase them. As we continue to heal, let us support one another in this process. Let us uplift and celebrate each other's achievements, challenge the negative stereotypes, and create spaces where our stories and experiences are valued and respected. The road to psychological liberation is long and winding, but each step we take brings us closer to a future where we can fully embrace and honor our true selves. Peace out. But listen, through it all, we resisted. We still resist. From warriors like Ya Asantewaa and Samori Toure to Pan-Africanists like Nkrumah, Sankara, Lumumba, from the Mau Mau Rebellion to the Soweto Uprising, from students who rewrite history to artists who sing our pain and pride, we are the generation rising, and we refuse to stay silent. Our resistance is woven into the very fabric of our existence. It is in the stories we tell, the art we create, the songs we sing. It is in the movements that demand justice and the voices that refuse to be silenced. We are the heirs of a legacy of strength, courage, and unwavering determination. Every act of defiance, every stand against oppression is a testament to our resilience. The spirit of resistance has been passed down through generations, evolving and adapting, but always burning brightly. It is a force that cannot be extinguished, no matter how hard the oppressors try. Today we continue to draw inspiration from those who came before us. Their struggles and triumphs fuel our own, reminding us that we are not alone in this fight. We are part of a continuum, a powerful lineage of resistance that stretches back through the ages and reaches forward into the future. As we face new challenges and confront old injustices, let us remember the strength that lies within us. Let us honor the sacrifices of our ancestors by standing firm in our resolve. Let us continue to resist, to rise, and to reclaim our narratives. Together, we are unstoppable. Together, we will forge a path to true liberation. And together, we will ensure that the legacy of our resistance endures for generations to come. Peace out. So now let's bring it all together. They said slavery ended 400 years ago, but the truth shows something different. Slavery transformed into colonization, and colonization only ended recently. And even now, the scars are fresh. The chains of oppression have merely changed form, evolving from physical shackles to economic exploitation, systemic racism, and cultural erasure. These unbroken chains still bind us, subtly and insidiously, affecting our communities, our opportunities, and our sense of self. But remember, our story is not just one of suffering but of survival and resilience. From the ashes of our past, we have risen, stronger and more determined than ever. Our resistance has never wavered. It has only grown more powerful with each generation. We carry the legacy of our ancestors in our hearts and minds, using their strength to fuel our fight for justice and equality. The journey is far from over, but together we will continue to break these unbroken chains. Together we will create a future where true liberation is not just a dream, but a reality. Peace out. They told us to forget, but we will remember. They told us to move on, but we will dig deeper. They told us to be silent, but we are speaking up louder than ever. Our voices rise in unison, a powerful chorus that echoes through the corridors of history, refusing to be silenced. We are the descendants of those who were enslaved, colonized, and oppressed. But we are also the heirs of their resilience, their wisdom, and their undying spirit. The path to true liberation is arduous and fraught with obstacles, but we walk it with the strength of our ancestors behind us. Each step we take is a testament to their enduring legacy, a declaration that we will not be broken. We remember their sacrifices, their struggles, and their triumphs. We honor their memory by continuing the fight for justice, equality, and freedom. We dig deeper into our history, uncovering the truths that were buried and reclaiming the narratives that were stolen. And as we speak up, our voices become a beacon of hope for future generations. We are not just telling our story, we are shaping the future. Together, we will break the chains, heal the scars, and build a world where liberation is not just a dream but a reality for all. Peace out. We are reclaiming our voice. We are telling our stories. We are healing through truth. And we are not doing this to stay in the past. We are doing this to shape the future. Because the future belongs to those who know where they came from. Each narrative we uncover, every truth we reveal, becomes a building block for a new legacy, one that honors the past while forging a path forward. As we reclaim our voice, we reclaim our power, our dignity, and our future. Together we will rise, unbroken and unbowed, crafting a world where liberation, justice, and equality are not just ideals but lived realities. This is our story and we will tell it our way. Peace out. So to you watching this, let's keep asking questions, let's keep challenging the lies we've been told. Let's keep building bridges across the continent and beyond. Let's educate, let's share, let's rise together. This is not just a moment, it's a movement that transcends borders and generations. A movement that demands justice and equality for all. We are the bearers of truth, the keepers of history, and the architects of a future where every voice is heard and every story is valued. Together, we have the power to dismantle the systems of oppression, to rewrite the narratives, and to create a world rooted in empathy, understanding, and mutual respect. Let's unite in this journey of discovery and resistance, for the power of collective action is unstoppable. So, let's keep pushing forward. Let's keep the conversation alive. Let's keep the fire of resistance burning bright. Because when we rise together, and together, we will create the world we deserve. Thank you for being a part of this journey. The story continues with you. Peace out. Like this video if it spoke to your soul. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to this channel, Echoes of Africa, where we speak the truth loud and clear. Comment below, tell us your thoughts, your experiences, your stories. Let's keep the fire alive. This is not the end, but a new beginning. Every like, every share, every subscription is a step towards amplifying the voices that have been silenced for too long. Your engagement is more than just an interaction. It's an act of resistance, a declaration that we will not be forgotten. Together, we can forge a future where the echoes of the past guide us towards justice, equality, and unity. So join us in this journey. The next chapter begins with you. Let's write it together. We remember not to stay in the past, but to shape the future. This is Echoes of Africa, our voices, our truth. As we move forward, let us not only remember but also act. Each story shared, each truth spoken, is a brick in the foundation of a more just and equitable world. It's not just about looking back, but about forging ahead with the lessons we've learned. Our voices are powerful, and together, they are unstoppable. Let's continue to amplify these echoes, ensuring they resonate far and wide. This is not just a channel, it's a movement where every voice counts, where every truth matters. So stand with us, speak with us, and together let's shape a future where the echoes of Africa are not just heard but felt, not just remembered but honored. This is Echoes of Africa, our voices, our truth, and this is only the beginning.